welcome to the show. I'm Sherry Schreiner. I was just going through the headlines here for today, and some of it's a killer, They're not even talking about the real stuff, and it's more like entertainment news. I thought it was a snub in the face to Trump that Patriots quarterback Tom Brady didn't go to the White House to see him. They've been friends for a long time, and this goes to show you the power of the cabal and who control all these celebrities, because they're pretty much the ones forcing celebrities to be anti-Trump, to come out anti-Trump, and so your friends are only as far as you can throw the handler, right? That's like this Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fight coming up, where they're trying to make a fight. Conor McGregor's a MMA, mixed martial arts fighter, big mouth from Ireland. And, of course, Floyd Mayweather's a boxer, so they got this, meeting of the match, do a boxing match. And Conor McGregor, I don't know if you know who he is, but he's one of these guys where they sign the dotted line, and literally almost right away anymore they lose their soul. This guy's already been through. You can tell he's been through MK Ultra programming already. He already froze in one interview. That seems to be the catalyst for these guys that are signing the dotted line. And then what happens is they go through chip implanting and MK Ultra programming, and you see it in guys like Ryan Lochte, the swimmer, Olympic swimmer, J.R. Whatever his name, J.R. Smith of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Conor McGregor. Quite a few athletes have had these moments where they just freeze. The Al Roker freeze. Al Roker doing his Good Morning America show, and he's talking, and then he just freezes. Just totally stops, like robot. Turn it off for a second. That's what happens to these guys, and so happening to a lot of people. So, it's not like it used to be. These people think that they're going to have a whole lifetime of fame and fortune before Satan claims their soul, and he's doing it immediately. They lose their soul right away. They become zombies and prisoners in their own bodies. I don't know what's causing the freezing. Maybe they're just androids, replacements. I don't know. It seems like they touched something in their back. You've seen them do it to Hillary. I've seen them do it to the clone Trump. I never saw them do it to Obama, but I've seen them do it to everybody else, like Eminem and all these other people who are cloned and went through that freezing thing. They touched something in the back, like a button in their back or something, and then they activate. They start talking again. It's like these are puppets. So that would be interesting. Either way, with the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight, I would go with McGregor on that one over Floyd Mayweather, because he doesn't box, he runs. I've never seen a worse boxer in my life, and this guy is like almost a billionaire in the money he's made in boxing, and all he does is hit and run. He's like a granny, like a little old lady fighting somebody. Hit and run, hit and run, hit and run. Got to chase him around the ring just to try to hit him. That's not boxing. That's tap dancing. All he does is tap dance, hit and tap dance. He doesn't box. That's not boxing. So anyway, look at Aaron Hernandez, supposed suicide in prison. So apparently, they said he wrote John 3:16 on his forehead. Where did he get a magic marker? They don't allow those in prison. Why isn't anybody asking that question? They said he had a red marker in his cell. He'd scribbled writing on his feet or whatever, trying to draw pictures maybe. That's exactly why they don't allow markers in prison, so they can't draw tattoos. And they said he had John 3:16 scribbled across his forehead. I couldn't do that on a good day to make that come out normal. How do you write John 3:16 on your forehead. You would have to be really good because when you're in a mirror, everything's backwards. And so when you're writing it on your head, you would have to be pretty prolific in being able to write the letters correctly so that someone looking at your head couldn't read it as John 3:16. I mean, come on. It screams of murder. A 27 Club, hello. They'll never come out with. They'll find a suicide note. They'll start finding all the stuff they initially missed first time around because it wasn't there. They'll start finding it now. You'll never see light of day about it being a murder. But we got some G stuff coming up. We got a G7. I think it's a G7 and a G20 meeting coming up. They got one in Italy, and they've got one in, where is the other one? I don't even know. But there's one next, I think it's in D.C. Got one coming up next week, and then the one the week after. Interestingly enough, I didn't get involved with the last budget deadline. Apparently this one's no big deal either. But on April 29th, if they don't renew the budget, the government shuts down. But apparently Congress isn't worried because they all took off on a 2-week vacation. And by the time they come back, they'll have 4 days to come up with a new budget to go into effect. Or the government shuts down on the 29th. I think actions scream louder than words. Congress knows they have no power of anything, so they just go home. Obama knew he had no power of anything, so he just went on vacation for 8 years. Everything's always pre-scripted and pre-planned way ahead of time, and the actors just go along with the script. So apparently on the 29th, it's all set that the government shuts down, or they have a miraculous bill to put in place to prevent the shutdown. I think there's a perfect storm brewing because you've got, behind the scenes, you've got the whole global reset rolling out, and that's one of the things that really makes my blood boil. Now, I'm not one of these people that say, it's a scam, people are losing their money if they buy it. I've been telling people to buy it since 2011, or 2010 even. The whole thing that irks me about it is people refuse to see the writing on the wall with it. All people think is that if there's a global currency reset, there's this huge trust that's called St. Germain Trust, and it's going to be released to the world, and it's got trillions of dollars, and it's all going to go to humanitarian projects, and all these people are going to have billions and millions and billions and trillions, and it's all going to go to humanitarian projects, and everybody's going to be rich and happy, and the poor are all going to be helped. Folks, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. I was just looking at a scripture the other day, and it was in Jeremiah, and it was talking about, it was the perfect one for this kind of situation. I'll have to find it for the next Monday night. But it was talking about how the money is a stumbling block. It's a stumbling block. Because all these people are saying, we're going to have money. We could actually do good things with it. And I believe these people will, and they would. But the problem is peace and safety, and then destruction comes. And the Bible talks that they'll be throwing the gold and silver in the streets. So if this was some kind of answer to solving humanity's woes, why are people throwing their gold and silver in the streets in just a few short years? It's going to be worthless. Money is going to be worthless. And it's really worthless when you can't buy anything with it. There's nothing to buy. You can't own anything. You can't buy anything. And the things that's the sleight of hand. If this thing coming was so going to benefit mankind. Why is everything so shady? Why is everything being done behind closed doors? And, we can't announce anything because people can't handle the truth. Bring on the next false flag, throw out distractions. If the restored republic is supposed to right all the wrongs that our government did before, why are we continuing in all those wrongs? Keeping people in the dark, lying to them, making shady deals. Everything's in back rooms. And people don't understand any of this. And you always have to watch for the changes. Like our money is going to go from USD to USN. It's going from the US dollar to the US note. And the note's going to be backed by gold. We're going back to a gold standard currency. But what they don't tell you outright is that it's backed on Chinese gold. The USN is really just changing the dollar from being owned by the Federal Treasury and the Rothschild banks to the U.S. dollar being owned by China. We are going to be the United States of China, the USN, the U.S. nitwits. Russia and China are the ones in control of this whole charade of the restored American Republic. There was an agreement long ago when Russia and China were going to launch war against the United States. Only Russia didn't care about the country. It didn't want the land mass, didn't want anything in the country, but they wanted to see the United States go down. China wanted the resources. China wanted the land mass. And so they agreed to go to war against the United States. And Russia would be the backup, and China would be the aggressor. And so that's why you always see Russia in the news, because it's a war that's been going on for about 20 years now. And now one shot's been fired, and they will conquer the United States with the United States' own rhetoric, with their own money, with their own politicians, with their own politics. I mean, who do you think set up Obama to be president of the White House? They had it for 8 years with Bill Clinton. They had it 8 years with Obama. He was their puppet. When you want to know what someone's really doing, watch what they accuse everybody else of doing. Because one thing I've noticed about these narcissist sociopaths we have to deal with all the time is that they accuse you of what they're doing. It's almost like the police today. They'll accuse people of resisting arrest when they're the ones beating them up. Construe things. They turn them around. So we're sitting here quietly, idly, waiting for this restored republic announcement and the currency resettling, because that will signal the eighth and final regime is finally in place. The regime that's replacing the cabal-owned New World Order. It's a sign. It's a signal. Or you have the Ashtar Command, these ascended masters physically arriving to the earth. I know that Iran has been talking about their Muslim Mahdi, the last Mahdi to arrive, would arrive in some kind of spacecraft, space vehicle. And they've been waiting for years for his arrival. I know over the years CNN would announce that the world teacher is here, call this 800 number. And that was back in the days when they were hyping he was coming, and then he never did, so everybody looked stupid. But that's what they're waiting for. That's another signal that the final regime is here when the Muslim Mahdi arrives, because I always thought he'll arrive first. He'll arrive before the Christian Sananda arrives, the fake Jesus that's coming. Or they just arrive together. I really don't think that's going to happen, but I guess we'll be waiting and watching, right? One of those two things happen, we know the next regime is here. Now, Trump is fighting against it. I think he's fighting against just the basic terms of it, because the fact that America is returning to a gold-backed currency, that's already in the bag, so to speak. But when they talk about the Paris Agreement, you have to realize that the whole the whole Restored Republic stuff was buried in deep inside that bill. And so people think they're talking about carbon emissions, and they're not. It's actually about the whole Restored Republic and GCR, global currency reset, is in that bill. And all the nations signed off on it. And Obama signed off on it. But it wasn't going to happen under his administration. It would happen under Trump's. I don't think, well, Obama didn't care that it was signing the sovereignty of the United States over to China. I think that that's going to bother Trump. And that's why he's saying, wait a minute, what did Obama sign? I want to look at this. So I think he's going to have issues with not the idea of the global currency reset, but the small writing of what it actually does. It gives China control of the United States. And so this is why in the back rooms this whole regime is screaming about Trump's impeachment. They have to impeach Trump. That he was just supposed to come in, sign off on the GCR, the global currency stuff, and the NASERA, and the Restored Republic and all that, and then claim that he's unqualified to be president because under a Restored Republic and constitutional law, and this part is what's funny, is that there has to be new elections that the people want. Actually have an honest election where the people elect the leader they want in office. Well, the funny thing is that they just did that because 85% of 90 million people voted for Trump. Now, I know they say 44, 45 million voted for Hillary, but that is a lie. That's an outright lie. She only got like 10% votes. Because she got like 45 million and Trump 46, or it's 44 and 45. We got about 90 to 95 million people that actually voted in the country, and 85% of that voted for Trump. 85%. So if that doesn't sound like people chose their candidate and the chosen candidate actually won, I don't know what would. But their idea is to say, we're going to impeach Trump because he's part of the cabal, the old regime, and all that's going out the window, and we're going to start a new regime, and we want our own leaders as president. Well, guess who they've already pre-chosen? Paul Ryan and Mike Pence. So wait a minute, we're going to have honest elections, but you're going to tell us who our leaders are, even if we do vote. It's already going to be Mike Pence and Paul Ryan. And you know what? The more the truth comes out about those two, people would be chasing them down D.C. with meat cleavers. They're scoundrels. Paul Ryan couldn't even make it in the presidential elections. Why he quit early? They say, he dropped out because the Chinese wanted to make him Speaker of the House, keep him in that. He was losing badly. The people don't like Paul Ryan. And they certainly, if they spent 5 minutes researching Mike Pence's shady past, would realize what a liar he is in child trafficking up to his eyebrows as Paul Ryan is. The biggest part of the swamp that needs drained is those two swamp creatures. We went from being bullied by the Rothschilds to where America is handing the reins over to the Chinese to become the new bullies on the block, instead of Americans just getting the reins in their own hands. And people want to make General Dunford sound like he's some kind of a hero because he's working in the background to get all this done for America with the Chinese elders. Hello? You just cannot wake people up. And does it ever occur to people, like they talk about when the global currency reset happens, that you go to these redemption centers to redeem your foreign currencies, and they talk about how there's going to be so much security, and the National Guard or the military will be there to see. What for what? For what? Do you see banks loading in security on Fridays when most people get paid and they're cashing their checks? Do you see police and armed guards at the banks? It's not like it's not a normal occurrence around America to go to a bank and cash stuff, right? So why do they want to whisk you off to a military base? I think the whole thing sounds really creepy. And you know what? I wouldn't go in a million years. I think they're lining up all these people to soul scalp them. Go in, get soul scalped. Whole idea. Because when you look at everything about this eighth regime coming in, the ones replacing the Cabal New World Order, it's all about soul scalping. They've been using healing techniques for years in the guise of soul scalping people. We'll heal you. Let us heal you. And people blindly let invisible beings try to heal them. They soul scalp them. That's why everyone in the New Age who's been in it long enough, their eyes turn black. And most of them have talked about having sicknesses and being healed by ascended masters or gurus or whatever, and it's because they're soul scalped. I wouldn't trust a thing they say, and I would not go anywhere but your local bank to exchange foreign currencies. You're not taking money to them. You're not coming out with money. Why do you need armed guards there? Oh, but you're getting a credit card and maybe 10,000 cash. You can do that down at the corner bank, folks. You don't need armed guards at the corner bank. If that doesn't make the hair stand up on the back of your neck, I don't know what in the world would. Soul scalping en masse. All the gullible. Watch your backs. Anyway, folks, time's up already. Friday goes quick. I'll be back on Monday night. Till then, everybody, God bless.